Sampadia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Samupe, Jumpadia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Oh, and you pumpuma, Asam pumpuma. Era one,
They are four women. They are beautiful with brains. They are eloquent, decent, wise, and experienced. You have heard many, the funny. Now, it's time to hear the experience and the brainy. Meet Selena, Dorcas, Gifty, and Annette as they present the real in common getting. In common BISSC chain, the dead, as in Takrenu assume the dead, the real in common getting. Showing live this and every Sunday, 7 p.m. on Era One Radio on Facebook and on YouTube, Era One Radio and our Taibo channel. Kaise, so we see the real in common getting ya. What brabon tete, we nyan konkonsa, we the real in common getting.
Hello, good evening, Era One Radio listeners and viewers all over the world. It's another Tuesday, the 14th day of April 2026. By God's grace, we are back in the studio. I am blessed to have my co-host. Now we have, three co-hosts. Reverend Isaba Akron, that is Pastor Robert Akron, and then our own sister. She just likes to be called Linda, so I'm just going to be obedient and call her Linda. But I know she's way more than that. Sister, Doctor, whatever you call Linda Otu, who lectures at the University of Cape Coast, Ghana, very close to my alma mater, St. Augustine's College. This is not Aquinas. It's nowhere near Aquinas. This is in Cape Coast, Accra. Cape Coast. It's not too far from St. Augustine's College. I'm just making somebody jealous. Those who went to Aquinas. Well, by God's grace, we are back here. And of course, you know them already. These are all long mileages. Pastor Kon, you know him very well. Sister Linda joined us a few weeks ago, and she started a very interesting topic. Now, what is trending now is AI, artificial intelligence. And so you need to know what artificial intelligence is. And on this platform, which I believe is the greatest teaching platform in the nation, Era One Radio, this is the Divine Connection Show. This is where divinity intercepts humanity. Here we use both our brains that God gave us and the Spirit of God that directs us. We don't just come and talk Bible and then we go and just do crazy stuff. So here we teach you. We are unlearning all the nonsense that we were taught when we were growing up, and we are learning better skills, which includes AI. And last week, our sister Linda took us through the application of AI. I didn't even know AI was in the Bible. She took a reference point from Genesis chapter 1, 26 to 20, where she opened our eyes as to how God even intended that we should multiply, we should replenish, we should subdue, and what is the other one, the last one? Multiply, replenish, subdue, and have dominion. Yeah, she showed us in the scripture what this means. So tonight, I'm just going to sit behind the wheels and let these two talk. I know Pastor Cole is not going to fight tonight. He's going to be a gentleman and let Sister Linda lead our discussion, and then we'll come. All right, before I forget, I want to congratulate Pastor Akron for having an alumnus who came to a school shortly. That is Christina Koch. She was in Legon 1999 to 2000. She came to study astrophysics. And that 1 year that she stayed there, Pastor Kron gave her all the hospitality you can think about. I don't think he had already left, so he doesn't even know anything about that. But Christina got all the hospitality that Ghanaians provide. And she went back, she never forgot about it. She ate gobe, she ate kenke, and the culture, all the things that she studied, she never forgot. And 26 years later, when she had opportunity to go back to the moon, she carried with her the Ghanaian flag. This is not the Niger flag. I know some of you are going on social media and just opposing the Ghanaian flag and the Niger flag for this woman. Niger, you can't claim this victory. It is only for Ghana. She went to University of Ghana, Legon, and she carried the Ghanaian flag with her all the way to the moon. So, Pastor Krom, I am recommending that you talk to the Legon people to name a street or build a new hall after Christina Koch. That is your assignment. All right. Anything you want to say before we go, and then Sister Linda will provide some warm up if she has it, and then we'll continue. All right, the Legonites, you want to say something?
Yeah, Legon, we
I'm
are
also
proud.
a Legonite.
Oh, you also went to Legon?
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm the best
Proud,
among you guys. I am the
proud
best among you guys
Legonite.
who went to tech. Oh, you look. If it wasn't
You
for
went,
Christina
Amen.
Church, you
you
are.
went to tech. What do you do? Is it not glorified carpentry and glorified what is
We
fitting?
are engineers, whatever. Okay, go ahead.
Glorified carpentry. Carpenter. Like if I wanted a carpenter to build my house, would I send somebody to tech?
Okay, go
I'll
ahead.
go the next place. I know you can say you go to university and you learn how to drum. That's what you tell us. We know that. So what next? Lego and Echo.
My lips are sealed. Okay, go ahead.
Lego and Echo. If you like, produce an astronaut.
Oh, fellow action man. Action, action, action.
No, if you like, let tech produce an astronaut. We have produced an astronaut.
It's in the works. It's coming.
It's in the what
But
words?
our own, we are going with AI. You people didn't go with AI. We are going to the moon with
Okay,
AI.
okay.
All right, Stalina, you have anything to say before this man stop talking?
I'm saying I'm also affiliated to action.
Action. I mean, you mean Legon?
Oh, no, that means you don't know your slogan.
Oh no,
I
no.
forgot.
Action for Gesco, but you were saying you also went to Legon. That's why. How are you affiliated to Action Kutin? Are
Hey,
you married? Are you married to an Augustinian and Absu? I'm putting that you
let's
say
go.
you affiliate. Hi, did you go to Holy Child?
No, 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 no.
None of the
I'm
above.
I'm in a way affiliated to action.
You want to keep that quiet. You don't want to say it. How are you
I'm
affiliated?
affiliated.
Okay. All right. All right. So Pastor Akron, set the tone for us. What are we talking about tonight? Set the tone and let Sister Linda continue. What are we doing tonight?
Okay. I mean, Dr. Linda last week made us understand that when a ethical person hears of AI, one would tend to think it is a modern thing and something new that man has come up with. But in actual fact, when you look through the pages of the Bible, Genesis chapter 1, you realize that God actually set this thing up. When in verse 26, he created, and 26, he said, let us make man. And then 27, he created man and gave him a job description, gave him power and things like that. Then in verse 28, 27, 28, he resourced the man for man to do what is required of him per the job description. And Dr. Linda made us see that just as God created man in his image, man is also creating the machine, perhaps in his image. And so you see the parallels and the correspondences. So today, Dr. Linda is going to continue in that vein and bring us how the parallels actually work down deeper. How God resourcing man is emulated by man resourcing the AI machine or software routine. And so, Prof. Linda, over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Reverend. And thank you very much, Dr. Boison.
You're welcome.
That is a great recap we had from you, Reverend. But to go back to the scriptures as far as Genesis 1:26 is concerned, we can again see that scripture says, God said, let us create man. Okay. That would mean that man was not just created or was not just made. Okay, there was some kind of intent by which God created man. Like there was an intention. Okay. And so we saw it, like Reverend Riley said last week, we saw that man was created with some kind of a purpose, was given a dominion. However, we are seeing that the dominion that God gave man, somewhere out of man's natural domain, as far as man's inhabitat is concerned. So we are seeing man to govern areas. For example, man is not an aquatic being, but he has to, how do you call it, govern the sea and the waters. Man cannot survive just by jumping. Gravity will work against us. And so we have to, govern birds in the air and all that. How would man do that? And so we will look at what man is doing and how man is also trying to emulate these things, these principles in the field of AI. So yeah, we see that yes, and this is a universal formula. For instance, Dr. Boyson, now you are here in the studio, and all of a sudden, the president of America gives you a state to govern. That is not your natural role. I'm sure about that. And so, what must what must you do? I'm sure you will just be confused for once. What must I do? Okay, so this is where we need understanding. We need to understand the new role you have been given. So in the case of man, man has been given the
C'est mon père, ça me fait bien tiens. Tu me fais dire non kotu, era one radio. C'est mon père, tu me fais bien tiens. Tu me fais dire non kotu, era one radio. Oh, and you pam asam pam
Yeah, sorry, the AI was trying to override my internet, so very sorry about that. Okay, Stalina, please go on, Doc. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but Linda, can you hear?
yes, Reverend.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I
sorry.
think
Yeah.
Dr. Boyce is not in.
I mean, yeah, the internet kind of almost threw me out, so, but I'm back. Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Dr. Linda, can you hear Dr. Boyson?
No,
Oh, you can't hear me?
he's currently not available.
But I can hear him when he speaks.
I am on now. I'm still on.
So, Dr. Linda, check your. But I don't think
But
the
since I
problem
can
is
also
from.
hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you speaking. Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead. I can hear you.
Okay. Go ahead and Linda, please go ahead.
Okay. All
We were
right.
talking
So
about the environment God has given man, and man also creating an environment with a job
exactly.
description.
So we are saying that we have established the fact that these are not man's natural domain. Okay.
Mm.
So man will have to understand how these environments works. Okay. How the various agents in these environments interact with the environment. So for instance, how does the fish behave in the sea? How does even the water bodies themselves behave? Man need to really understand all these things, how the birds fly, how objects can move in the air and all that. Man need to really understand these basic concepts. Okay, so this understanding, we have what we will call man have to observe the creatures of these environments, how they interact with these environments. And out of that, man learns a pattern with these agents, okay, as in the fishes, the fowls, and all that. man learns the patterns that on how they interact with the environment. Then from that um, learning, you will see man creating laws, okay, or principles out of that learning. That is the based on the identified patterns that man have observed, because man by then would have observed that once you jump, ultimately gravity is going to work against you. All right. So there is a principle we go by that. So you see causes like laws that were aligned to causes like physics. We are seeing biology also in there because we are talking about nature and all that. So at this point, this is what man would have done. Then we move from this learning to alignment. After man knowing the patterns and how this environment behaves with these their individual agents, then the man will need to right now align with these environments. Okay, as in the way the fishes will behave in the sea, man will need to align to how either the tools or man himself will also will have to behave in these environments. So we see these at this point, man building systems, okay, or tools that will be able to behave, obey the laws identified within these environments. And so man will be able to navigate the sea, will be able to navigate the air and all that based on the understanding man have gotten from the observations and the learning of these environments. So it's the same thing here. At this point, man have created AI models. Okay, we know God created man and God gave man purpose and some kind of intent with domain. Man have also created AI models. Okay, that is man is extending or delegating its domain, a dominion to AI. So we see these AI models, and then we are seeing that these AI models that have been created, okay, if man is to give it environment to govern, okay, or operate, is the same concept that God used in creating man and giving man the dominion in the various environment. That is the same concept here. In this concept, we are again seeing these AI models that are now built. Once they are built, they are to observe the environment that um, they are to operate within. So in this observation, we see that in the case of man, man was working with nature. Man was observing the sea. He was observing the land. He was observing the air and all that. But in the case of the AI models, they will have to observe data. Okay, so the AI models will be observing these data, okay, based on the set of data that is happening. And out of the observation is going to learn from these data, okay. And so what would the AI models be learning? Just as man learned patterns in the data, AI models are also going to learn patterns within these data, okay. And out of that, they will be able to draw some um, conclusion, either to predict or to prescribe or diagnose or recommend or do all sort of things. So now we can build systems that we can build recommendation systems. For example, those of you who enjoy Netflix that much, you see that once you open to a particular film, you also be given some kind of suggestion, as in some other movies will be recommended to you, so you can watch as well. So these are the same principles that God used in creating man and giving man governance over various environments. It's the same model that man is using to develop the AI models and giving his governance over various environments. Okay, so we see these principles working in maybe health sector, finance, weather forecast, so many places. As in all the various human institutions we have, we can adapt these concepts there. All right.
Dr.
Then,
Linda, can I ask a
in the
question
case
real
of
quick?
our real world, we are now seeing that
Dr. Boison wants to ask a question.
Oh, I don't think she's
Okay.
still hearing me. I want our listeners to be a little have some knowledge. I know we've been talking about AI for a while, but I don't know whether everybody
Wait a minute,
understands.
Dr. Bossy, wait a minute.
You
Or
still
should
can't
I
hear me?
leave and come back?
And
So,
maybe do that.
so
Dr. Linda leave and then come back and see if she can now hear you.
Okay, all right. Let me try something here real quick.
C'est mon père, ça me fait bien tiens. C'est mon père, ça me fait bien tiens. Tu me fais dire non tout, era one radio. C'est mon père, tu me fais bien tiens. Tu me fais dire non tout, era one radio. Oh, ayong pangtua, asam pangtua.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
yes.
Okay, thank God. Amen. All right. So I
All
was
right.
saying that these AI models and all the AI we've been hearing about, you being, well schooled in the computers and stuff. I want you, this is what I read from the internet, and I want a very simplified version so our listeners will understand. When we talk about AI, what is that? I mean, as a basic, because when you mention AI models, some people are wondering what is okay. So what I read is artificial intelligence enables computers to simulate human intelligence, learning from data to recognize patterns, make predictions, and generate content. It powers everyday tools like search engines, virtual assistants like Siri and Alexa, and personalized recommendations, while enhancing efficiency and automation. AI poses ethical risks like bias and inaccuracies or like hallucination. But with your knowledge, since you know the ins and the outs of it, if you were telling a layperson what AI is, how would you describe it before we even get to the AI
Okay.
modules? Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry. I think last week we looked at AI as a we defined AI in layman's perspective. We broke it into two and saw that um, artificial intelligence has to do with two words. Okay. So we saw the artificial and then the intelligence.
Intelligent.
Okay. And so we define artificial as anything that is man made and intelligence as their one's ability to learn, draw inferences, and then take decisions. All right. So, like you rightly said, these are concepts that have been built in a software form. Let me put it that way. Okay. So, in the case of um, I had Netflix. Okay, that is or recommendation systems or search engines. All right. So the moment you interact with these systems, okay, they learn your behavior. Okay, they are able to learn your behaviors, and so once they learn your behavior, they know that, oh, you in particular, you like this horror kind of movies. Okay, so the moment you interact with one horror kind of a movie, then all forms of horror kind of movies will be now suggested to you. Okay,
Mm,
and then they will be telling you based on the analytics they have with all other humans that anybody who watches this movie watches that one too.
mm.
And so you'll be tempted to move there. It's the same thing you see on Facebook and other social media handles. Okay.
Okay,
So
okay,
once you
okay.
interact with that, we have what we call the um, um, your behavioral data. Okay. So that is what marketing agents buy. So
Mm,
they are able to even build ads for companies or for these social media um, marketers. All right.
thank you,
So
thank
once
you.
we know how the people behave, all right. So all that we are doing, whether we know or we don't know, as in whether we are aware or not, we are creating data. And this is what the data is creating patterns about our lives, whether you work or you are not working. we are still creating data. And this data is all about our lives. If you open to your phone now and go to settings to check your well-being on your digital well-being, you are going to see how you have behaved all these months or weeks or even today on your phone. Some people are not aware of such things. And
That's
so
true.
these are some of the things that AI is doing. So you can see that, oh, for all you know, the whole day you've stayed on social media for 8 hours or more, or more. And the various activities you are looking at, we are keeping track of it. Okay. So you can see that the moment sometimes, even based on the question you asked, the permissions we have given to these our devices, we are not aware. So sometimes you think about something, you go to Facebook, is there. Or I don't know if you have ever encountered that. Or you talk about something, all right. And the moment you visit any of the any of the social media handles, you go there and it's there.
So it's like
One, you have given,
our phones have been tapped to, respond to what we need.
they are actually listening to our environment based on the permissions you have given it. Some have given Facebook permission to actually, how do you call it, use the microphone, use the camera. Like they've granted all these permissions already. So once we are talking, so what makes you think that Serial is not listening to the environment? So you pause to your response. It's actively listening to your environment. So there are discussions we pick, and some of these tools are actually listening. So they know what we need. So the moment you go there, we have what we call the infinite scrolling algorithm. You go there, you see that thing, and this is what you have thought about. And so you scroll, and then the rest of your scrolling is all about that thing
Wow.
or related to that
That is
thing.
so
And
true.
so
That is so true.
that is how our life is actually. We are all creating patterns about our lives, whether we like it or not. We are creating about ourselves, okay? And so these are normal in natural day life, and these are the concepts that we are using in technology. So there is nothing new actually here. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The
Thank
last
you.
time I think we had a discussion, Reverend and myself, and we explained that this concept have been there. An old woman could just look at you and tell you that, Dr. Boyce, the way you are behaving, this is how you are going to end. Your life is going to be like this. And
Pastor Akran tells me that
you
every day.
conclude, sorry,
Pastor Akran tells me that every day.
yeah. And if you don't take her, you will consider him to be a great prophet. Or if it were to be that old woman, you would have said she was a witch. Okay, because some of the things the person is going to tell you, you're going to see it in your real life. What is the person doing? Is actually having a data of a known or learned something. So the person have learned behaviors of personalities in the family. Okay, so once the person sees your behavior, he or she will compare it with the existing knowledge. Okay, and then will be able to predict your outcome because he knows that anybody who does drinking, chasing of women, smoking, and all that ends this way. And anybody who concentrates on education as far as the family is concerned also ends that way. So that person can look at a new person in the family and can predict that based on the behavior you are putting up, this is how your life is going to end. All right. So
Awesome.
these are all old concepts. They are not new. We are just allowing the machine now to do those things for us. And if
Mm,
human beings can do that, human beings, mind you, we are limited in our memory size. Okay, our capacity as far as storage is concerned, we are so limited. All right, but then the AI machines are large. They have large sets of storage. So, and then they can work on large sets of data sets. So they can do a lot of you know, learning and generating patterns in a large data set and draw inferences. They can do that, and so at the with precision yet minimal time. Okay,
mm,
you cannot be able to do that. If I give you a large data set as far as maybe lottery for the past 10 years, try and get the patterns in that data. I'm not sure you'll be able to do that in a second. But AI models will be able to do that because it's
Oh,
just
can
generating
you do that
patterns.
because we need that money? Can you work on that for us?
All right. So I think we so if we are talking about what AI is, this is what
Well,
we are
explain
really talking
explain
about,
thoroughly.
and it's
Yeah.
it's in all institutions. We can find it in every aspect of human life. It's in the hospital. It's in the banks. It's everywhere.
Thank you.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Dr. Linda, I'm looking at, I'm excited by that explanation. Yeah, God created man in his image, only for man to rebel against God. Man is creating a machine in his image. Is there the prospect, call it, that AI machines might do to man
What's man
what
did to God?
man did to God?
Is that a
Is that
quantitative?
something that maybe from what you've said, how you've been able to link God to man and man to machine? I have that sneaky feeling that you are going to hit us with that bomb. So listen to me before. Now I'm prepared for that. Hit us with that. Do we see the prospect of AI actually developing, call it for want of a better word, each or their own personality or personalities that they can think for themselves and decide that they have to disobey man or go outside the algorithm man has equipped that machine or that software routine with?
Thank you very much. I think last week a portion of this question came up again, and then we said that man man had a will, so man could decide on what to do at a time, and
Mm,
so God have given a set of instructions. Yet man will decide we are not going to obey; we're going to do otherwise. All
mm,
right. But in the case of these AI models, as a matter of fact now the state we are, the models themselves are not aware of themselves.
mm,
Okay, so um, they do not, let me put it, they do not have that will. But if we get so interested and then we want to enjoy just the usage and just scaling the operations of these AI tools, okay, and these things, these operations of these AI models overwhelm us, then we are going to get there. It's a
So
gradual
would that
process.
be, Dr. Linda, would that be a technical glitch, or is that tantamount to disobedience? Because disobedience, as Pastor Akron rightly said, if man had a will and he willingly or willfully disobeys God, that is a willing act to do. But in the case of AI, like he rightly said, they can't think for themselves. So whatever we feed it, the input is equal to output. So whatever you put in or you feed it with, that is what it's going to give you. So if there's a word like disobedience, wouldn't that be a glitch instead of a disobedience? Am I clear?
Yeah, the AI is working with the data sets,
Okay.
okay, and constraints, okay. So it's not like give and take thing, all right. So there are things in the data you might even not be aware, but based on the capacity of the model will be able to bring all those things out. Okay,
mm,
but as it stands now, these models cannot generate, let me put it, prompts on their own. Okay, we will have to direct it on what to do at what point in time. All right, but then if a time comes where we think that the AI models without a trigger should just generate anything and do its work. Okay, for instance, we were to meet here at 10, all right, and so assuming we have modeled this meeting, okay, and then it's 10 o'clock, possibly you are elsewhere driving, and then you have your session already live. You get the point. How are you going to manage? So they are not on their own to take decision now. Okay, what we are describing is even possible, but it is possible, but it has to go through another form of AI models that will generate a trigger and orchestration before that session can be launched live. Okay, so still they are being controlled, but then the way we are going about things, we are getting there.
We are getting there.
Mm, mm, mm. Okay.
All right. So, continuing from where we ended, we are seeing that these environments are unique. Okay, so the sea is unique to the air. All these environments are different, and so we are having agents that behave differently in these environments. But
Mm,
now we are seeing cross-boundary kind of
mm,
Interaction.
environment. Let me put it that
mm,
way. Where we
mm.
are seeing cars that will want to fly, okay, and we are seeing possibly cars that are also swimming in the sea. You get the point. So we are seeing that man has been given a mandate to govern all these environments. Okay, man have been able to study all these various environments and see the laws, and he's working with the laws. However, it's able to create systems, or let me put it that way,
Models.
tools that
Mm,
can cross these environments. Are we seeing that in AI? Yes. So
mm,
we have models. For example, if you say it's a forecasting model and it's just for weather, before you realize it's predicting elections, is
mm.
doing another, is doing other stuff in other areas. All
So
right.
so
So
can we say AI is just an evolutionary tool over what has been in existence for so long ago? Because if
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
think about
And
Alexa,
that is what we Christians will have to be aware of. Most of the times when you see creative stuff like this, we are quick to say all sort of things. Okay. But this is actually demonstrating God, how God is creative and how God have created. If we look at the Genesis story, we can see that this AI thing didn't just come. Man have built several systems, like we are talking about physics now. Okay, man have built so many systems and tools to have gotten to this place. The same way God created so many things before he got to himself and said, let us create man.
Mm, mm,
You get the point. So
yeah, I
now
do.
we see the whole 26, that is Genesis 1:26 verse, as just the main architecture where we are designing, okay, how the man is going to be like and what mandate is man going to have and how man is going to govern the various environments. So that is what we see. And in system development, at this stage, we are at the architectural design. We have gathered the requirements and we are designing it. By in 27, where we see God actually implementing whatever he said he was going to create, we see God actually executing. And it's the same thing. We can't say, oh, we are just building AI models. For what? We are building them for this, we are building them for that. Then we do the actual implementation of the model. It's the same concept. And then finally, when we read the verse 28, we see God blessing them. Okay. And this afternoon, I think Reverend discussed something with me that this is the first time God was actually speaking with the man he has created. This is the first time that God himself spoke to the man he created. That is the God interacting
With
with
Adam.
the creature. All right. And so it's the same thing. Man creates the AI models and so gives it a data to work with. So man was blessed by God. That is God endowing man with the capabilities to be able to perform well in his mandate. Man builds AI models, it interacts with it, gives it data, gives it the necessary sensors and input devices, add capacity to it. Go and work.
Mm,
But my fear,
mm,
Dr. Linda, my fear is that it looks as if we might end up attributing some glory to something that has been taken from something. Let me be precise. If you look at going to the moon, there are instances where I wouldn't even say drone, where uh, spaceships or aircrafts have been designed to fly by themselves unmanned to
mm,
go around somewhere close to the moon and come back. And recently, well, a few days ago, when the four astronauts came back, this was a manned uh, trip.
mm,
But prior to that, they had sent several,
Human beings.
equipment that have gone around the world and come back. So are we going to say that prior to AI, all these things that were existing were different, or now we are trying to bring a revolution and give a name to something that derives its help from something else? Because it's like we are neglecting to acknowledge what existed before this, and we are giving it to AI. Because we had drones that could go to where? Iran, Iraq, wherever, circle around there, somewhere in the surface of the earth, Oman, and come back. We didn't call them AI, but now all of a sudden AI has become very popular. Aren't we attributing or giving glory to something that
No,
is different?
no.
Can I chip in before the Prof. Linda? I think Dr. Boison, I can go back to the Bible,
Okay.
right? There were occasions when God actually made entrance into human space. Think of when God came to Abraham, and then after whatever, he informed Abraham that he was going to destroy
Sodom
Sodom
and
and
Gomorrah.
Gomorrah,
Mhm.
right? But prior to that, God certainly had means of determining what man was doing. Because let's face it, if he had retired, how did he get to know that Sodom and Gomorrah had misbehaved? For him to actually decide to come and verify things for himself. I believe it's the same way you made mention of prior to the landing on the moon, I mean, circling of the moon some week, 1 week ago. We had sent the rover systems, satellites, I mean, all kinds of machines, even to literally walk the surface of a planet like Mars, right? Isn't it the same case as Prof. Linda has actually implied? Man, God allowed man to operate one way or the other as his agent, man as the agent of God,
Yeah.
till God decides, let me now go there to verify things for myself. In the same vein, we sent rover systems, robots, and what have you into space. Now we want to go there
And verify
and verify things
for
for
ourselves.
ourselves. We are seeing a continuation. There is continuity, right? So I think I can guess where Prof. Linda is coming from. Prof. Sorry, this is we are
Go
coming from
ahead.
a,
That's
so
fine.
when we say professor, it means somebody who teaches at the university. Forget about Ghana.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Scared. Okay, so I think the point you are making, and where Dr. Boyce, and for me, where I am looking at myself and I'm saying, God, you've given me your laws. You've given me the do's and the don'ts, but you've also given me a will, and that will enables me to exercise my choices. That will enables me to decide. And one of the aspects of the decision is whether to follow what you've said or to go my way. Now I'm also looking based on what you said, Prof. Man is emulating God. God gave us our natural intelligence. We are given non inanimate things, for example. I don't want to use the word non-sentient, right? Because ultimately they are sentient. Here, are we going to get to the point, since we are emulating God so well, that we will design machines without a back door to really rein them in when they go rogue? Are we going to design systems that will behave like us, like we are behaving like God, so that they can decide? And that's where the key word, they can decide whether to obey whatever algorithm and instructions and what have you we've given them. Whether we've given them data or not, now they can go out of their way to gather data on our blind side and act based on that data to our detriment. That's where my concern is. Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you. This is a simple. I think growing up, there's a certain movie. I'm trying to recall the title of the movie. I don't know if you're aware of that, where we see robots fighting humans. These
Ah,
things, yeah, there is a particular movie like that, and
mm,
that is exactly what is going to happen.
mm,
Gradually, we don't see it in our we are not seeing it yet in our generation, but the rate at which AI models are reproducing themselves and we are scaling them up to perform this function, to do that function, and we are doing all developments now in channel to AI. Everybody is everything we are doing now. We are having websites that can learn how users interact with it. Okay, and so now university is building systems that will now tell a student that we are just not telling the student that this is the CGPA you have gotten, but we are redirecting that information to a scholarship website, to a job market. Okay, so and even telling the student that based on how you are performing, this maybe after level 100, we are now telling students that based on your results, these are the possibilities for you. If you don't take care, you can be sacked. If you don't take care, you excel in this particular areas. Previously, we were not doing that. But
mm.
now, based on these AI tools, we are able to tell students a lot of information based on just looking at 2 semester results. All right. So every system is changing and we are all moving to AI thing. All right. So we'll be overwhelmed with it, or it will look as, and then at the point we may give it certain advantage that will land us to where that movie, where that movie really talked about as far as human beings and robots were concerned.
So,
Maybe
Prof.
when
Linda,
I come across the movie title, I'll share it with you so we can
But
share it.
isn't it the case, Dr. Prof. Linda? God actually created a back door
Yeah,
for him to intervene, right? When man goes rogue, God still has a way to make a grand entrance into his system, right?
exactly.
And correct things. Typical example, he decided to get rid of all humans in the story of the flood,
Noah.
right? Is it possible also, if we are really emulating God,
We
for
get
us,
it.
in spite of what the AI model, whatever, for us to create a back door like God did, to make sure that we still can go in and rein in the, call it AI
The data
agents,
information, yeah.
the robots, the software routines, and what have you, in order to make sure that Armageddon scenario
It's not
never
achieved.
materializes. Is that
Yeah,
something that
I think this discussion it's aiding in that awareness.
mm,
So developers must be aware of some of these things if they are really not aware of the fact that they are emulating God. And these were some of the challenges that God had
Mm.
with mankind. Then they should sit up and be ready. So we
I like
can
that.
already get
I like that.
we can already get a remedy for the already known challenge. So I
Oh,
think that is something that this podcast is doing to our viewers around the
mm,
globe anyway.
mm,
Let me thank you very much. I mean, you two have contributed very, I mean, immensely towards this. Let me turn my attention to education. With the introduction of AI and Chat GPT, would you say AI is going to be helpful to students, or students are just going to lazy about them? They can write a paper with AI and just go scot free.
Okay. So not too long, I think I was again discussing it with Reverend that personally I'm with the Department of Computer Science and IT. All right. Now these days, within a minute, students are developing applications just in a day. And then the kind of applications they are developing are, serious ones. All right. Now they are generating reports and all that. As educational institution in Ghana here, for instance, our policies were just made after the AI has been invented. So AI came before, we are now looking out for policies. So we are already late. So students are doing all sort of things, and then we want to punish students with, you know, how do you call it? If you bring documents that is AI detected, then there will be this punishment for you. Your paper will be cancelled. You score zero, or sort of. So the question here is, how is the university able to also tell that this particular work is done by AI?
mm, mm, mm.
And you see the answer has to do with the fact that the university is using AI detectable tools.
Okay.
So we are asking students to stop using AI to write reports, to do their assignments, but we are comfortably using AI to see whether they actually use AI or not. We have to build policies, okay? So if the students are not to use AI, the university also should not come out with AI. We shouldn't also use AI.
Well, the tools are
We
Ah,
should.
measures to combat what will
what,
come. It's
I
like
don't
setting up
understand the
a policeman.
I don't understand the logic.
No, but this is the university. Okay. So in my case, I've written a report and you think it's AI generated. How are you seeing that? Is there anything you are seeing in that work that makes you to think that this is AI?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
If we are to argue that I should not use AI to write my work, then don't also use AI on my work.
Hmm.
All
This
right.
logic is a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know whether I
perfect.
agree with that because
Okay.
it's like, Doc Linda. It's like saying that okay, we don't want thieves in the system, and so we
Mm-hmm.
don't want the police or the cops to be hanging around or security guards because if you don't want nobody stealing, we don't want security guards. It makes sense. As long as
Oh
people are not
no.
going to steal, then there will not be the need for security guards or whatever. But let's say, example, if you use Grammarly, Grammarly
See,
just
you know what
inspects
I'm
your work.
talking about? Dr. Boison, hold
Yes, ma'am.
on. On our university page, it's rather unfortunate that maybe I'm citing these examples. You see, for instance, discussions that are going on the page, and you can just tell that these are AI generated documents. Okay. Meanwhile, these are lecturers that are also preventing students from using AI tools. Okay, so because there are no policy, we are not really seeing how best we can use these AI tools to really better the way we do our work. Okay, because if we can do discussion, just a simple discussion, people can no longer have simple chats without AI. Everything is just AI. Recently, I saw a serious document that was actually outside. And so when I look at the document, I saw that line 7 was AI generated. So I called the director in charge. I told him that this document is, and he said, "How did I know?" I said, "Oh yeah, it's AI generated, and these are the issues in these are the issues in there. If AI generated it, is it wrong? Let's see. For me personally, let's have the document that has been generated as a framework, okay? And then maybe possibly you input your own, words into it. And so you can generate human documents rather than just copying the entire thing and then pasting it. You have forgotten that this AI is working with patterns. So once you copy, there are hidden numbers in there, okay? We call them tokens, tokens numbers, okay, or codes. So they are hidden. You can't see it. So you think it's just a Word document and you paste it. Somebody with other expertise will also know that this particular document is AI. So don't copy and paste.
So what if they paraphrase? They paraphrase and they give some credit to AI. This is AI generated. This is because I know with APA citing of if documents or rights or whatever, you can paraphrase and
Do
give them
some work on it.
where you
Do
get you
some
got
work
it
on
from
it. But the advice is never copy and paste directly,
directly.
even on Word. Okay, it's traceable. Possibly you can paste on a notepad and do your editing. Once you are done,
Okay.
open it and then you send it to Word. So you just cancel all the traces to
Mm,
those words. That is why you can, after prompting one prompt, you can go ahead and prompt, and the response will be faster because the AI model is working with these memory tokens. Okay, so one word is going to link to other words easily. So when you are working with such documents, make sure you are not really copying and pasting. Okay,
directly.
AI has a style of memory, spacing, bulleting, so many things. So a person can, and you see, AI will always exaggerate. They call it hallucination. It will
Hallucination.
do some edgings, challenges in your work. So one particular statement will use several adjectives to describe the condition. So you see that the words will be so beautifully aligned, about three, four different words, just describing one thing. Okay. Then I know this is really AI and all that. So if you
Wow.
want to beat immigration, there is work you must do. Just pick
Immigration.
their concept as a framework and then work in there. So you change how things are done. Otherwise, it's really traceable, and then we can detect that it's
You are
purely AI.
expelled. All right, Pastor Kwai, what is coming?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm scratching my hairless head. And
AI can help you.
Dr. Boyson and Prof.
Possibly, Dr. Boyce, next podcast, let's see how AI will interact with the session. Possibly.
With a session. Oh, okay.
Oh,
That would be exciting.
you
Mm,
can do that, right?
You have a model for that?
with these recordings, we can have a notebook, LM
Wow.
podcast. So it discuss the section with us, and we are going to be, you know, surprised about some of the things that AI can tell us about this
Wow.
session.
I'm
We are in for a ride.
I'm all for it.
We are in for a ride. Yeah, we are actually using the Genesis 1:26 to 18 power
No,
because
but but
we haven't even scratched the mentality and the brains that God gave us. Nothing. I mean, you saw people
but
going to
you
the moon.
see,
God says you people haven't even attempted nothing.
you see, Dr. Boyson,
Yeah.
Say,
there is a funny thing, right? Going back to the Bible, right? There is this small portion in Genesis 1 where God created a firmament, and that firmament separated waters that at one time were all on earth. And that firmament had water from earth above it and water on earth below it. And then God calls that firmament heaven. So we have earth's water above heaven, which is to say, it is possible for man, since we have dominion over earth, to go looking for a resource that is part of our domain of operation or jurisdiction. And we may not actually seek the permission of heaven to access that resource, because God chose to name that separator heaven, and we have a resource there. I'm also looking at if that is a possibility, where we go for that resource without seeking permission from the owner of that space that separates the resource from the other resource.
So is the firmament a no man's island? Is it part of heaven or is it part of no man's land?
It's called heaven. So the heaven we know, that's the firmament, unless something else is happening
So
there.
where the moon is, what part of creation is that?
If
What
it is
location
in
would that be?
heaven, it is part of it is etched in the firmament.
So the moon is in the firmament.
Well, if the moon is actually lodged or wedged in the firmament, yes, it is in heaven, then it is in the firmament.
So man doesn't have permission to go there.
No, but why? If that's the point I'm making, I'm driving home a point that if, for example, typical example, Alaska is not part of the continental USA.
Mm-hmm.
To get to Alaska, you go through what? Canada.
And it's close to Russia. Close to Russia.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, from an American going to Alaska passes through Canada. At least
Canada is not part of US.
And you don't need Canadian visa to access. That's why if you have an ordinary driver's license in America, and you can sit in a plane from Maryland to
Alaska,
California, and immigration will not be involved. The same way you can travel from Maryland to Alaska, which actually is located somewhere beyond Canada, and you don't need a visa.
But you do for Canada.
But if you are going to Canada, even if 2 miles away from your bedroom is Canada, you need visa. I'm me and my crazy thoughts.
Well, we need that. Continue being crazy.
I have an earthly resource located above heaven. I don't need permission to pass through heaven to go to my resource. If that is so, supposing I go there and God doesn't like it, but I have my resource there, so I bypass him. Am I looking at a situation also, a possibility in this AI space, where a machine decides that there is something of it in another location or domain, and it doesn't need my permission to access it, and as a result, it can use that data in dangerous ways against me?
Pastor Akron, let me digress a little bit, because we've already made the assumption that this is a teaching platform, so we want to learn. Now, let's look at the story about the people in Babel trying to build this tall structure to go to God. I know the motive was very important. Now, these guys said, come come, let us plan together and build a structure to go to where God is.
Mm.
God decides, okay, you guys, your motive is bad, so I'll break your foundations and scatter you. But here we are, man is going to the moon. Maybe the motive is not to go to the moon and from there go to heaven. But here they can go and God just, I believe God smiles. He doesn't say anything. Why are those two so different?
No, because if you read Hebrews chapter 2, verse 6 down, the Bible said, you have created man a little lower than the angels, but you have crowned man with your honor and your glory, and you have put all the works of your hand under man. So seriously speaking, man going to heaven is within his sphere of
Jurisdiction.
influence or operation, because all is all. God put all the works of his hand under man. Did God create heaven? Is heaven a creation of God? It is under man then. All is all. Right? These are the serious issues there. But again, does God reserve, or has he reserved some domain or a back door to rein man in? I believe so. So I am saying, and I think it's like belaboring the point. Prof,
Well, we are 6 minutes above our time, so
do we, from where you sit, is it part of your thinking or your design thinking to make sure that man still has a way in to undo damages that our creation, AI tools, can unleash?
But before you do that, we have to remember that man was fortunate, was blessed. When we messed up, Jesus had to come and die for us. If AI messes up, who is going to die for him or her?
Man will die for him then. Man will die for AI. If we are following right.
Surprisingly, I think I think last week when some of these things came up, I asked Claude that is it possible that they will in a way disobey man, and Claude surprisingly told me that no, but rather they will help man to disobey God. So I'm going to research into that, and let's see, possibly next week if you can bring some of the outcome to share.
You mean Claude said it will help man? Claude will help man to disobey God.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
But they are not going to
Now you people are going
yeah, so I
overboard.
decided to investigate that. So
No,
they will not disobey man, but they will help man. Sorry, please.
No, I said we are in for a treat. I endorse it. Next week, let's go
Sure,
high tech.
sure. Let's see how they
Okay.
Wow, that would be interesting. AI, remember, you don't have Jesus to die for you, so you better sit up. At least we are blessed. We have an advocate. I don't know about you, AI. I don't know who is your advocate. Even the man that will be your advocate can betray you. Anyway, well, I think we are past our 1 hour. I don't know whether each of you want to give a closing remarks before we go, since some people in Ghana it's getting close to their bedtime. All right. Prof. Linda, any closing remarks? I mean, any of you?
Okay.
I think Reverend
Okay.
Reverend is
All
ready
right.
for the
Prof.
closing
Mr. Van Gogh.
remarks.
Oh, I think this is fascinating. I mean, the more we go into this, the more, call it, vistas are opened, and the creative mind is really enticed and call it motivated to do some cool stuff. I just want to thank Prof. Linda for this. I like today's session. It's like we are going to like it more. I mean, because next week we are actually going to have some live AI wonder wonders on our
Interjecting our
screen.
session. That is
Yeah,
great.
and I can't wait. I can't wait for that. In fact, Dr. Boyson, already my mind is looking at the possibility of live demonstrations as part of one of these sessions, or maybe something we can think of where we see actual building of something that AI, right, can help us to do to practicalize this, right? We'll still go by the word of God. We'll see. I mean, look at mine a model, mine a thought or a problem or a solution God put in there and see if we can actually make it real in and with AI. So, Prof. Linda, thank you.
I'm
Yeah.
sure
I'm
that
proud of you.
the men are thinking about how AI can
Thank
give
you,
them side
Reverend.
chicks. Please don't even go there.
It's part of it comes with the territory. Don't worry. Anything is possible.
Amen. In Jesus' name. Amen. All right, Prof. Linda, any closing remarks?
I think Reverend have said it all. The era we find ourselves, we need to be, well abreast with issues around AI because a lot of things are happening. I tell you what, people are generating fake medical reports. We're having all sort of AI bots now. We have the even fake. We have fake chat GPT. We have so many things happening, and so we need to really, really be knowledgeable. So I will entreat everybody to stay tuned here again next week. And so as we continue with the discussions about AI and God's creations.
Thank
Thank
you
you very
very much.
much
Thanks
for
to both
having me.
of you. I believe that our key scripture was Genesis 1:26 to 28. I believe when God directly spoke to Adam and said, be fruitful, multiply, replenish, and subdue the earth, he didn't give any limitation to man. That is why we are doing great things. Those who, our parents who lived years ago, if they should wake up and come and see what is going on, they open their mouths. Wow, is that what you are doing? Even Jesus never had the opportunity to ride in a Rolls Royce
No.
or a jacuzzi or even a Benz, but he laid the foundation for us. So on this platform, we have declared a teaching platform. There are so many things we have learned when we're growing up that doesn't help us. It's time for us to unlearn, put them aside, and pick up new knowledge. And somebody said, if you go to church and the preacher is preaching, and you yourself, you haven't read the Bible, you don't understand it, whatever he dishes out to you, you are going to accept it. But if you read for yourself and you know what is there, if he makes any fallible statement, you can say, hey, Cholo, this one that you said is here, please. You can pull him aside after church and say, Cholo, what you taught in church today is not biblical. We should be able to learn so that nobody will boot us around. We have to unlearn some of these things we learned earlier on, and then we learn. And Jesus said something in John 4 that the time is coming when worshippers will not worship me on this mountain, but they will worship me in truth and in spirit. That means we are not limited to location. And thank God for COVID. COVID taught us that we don't have to go to a temple, a location, a church to worship God. Jesus lives in us, and we can call upon Him anytime. That does not negate the fact that we can't assemble in the church, because Hebrews also mentioned that we have to meet in the assembly. So, if what I'm saying tonight is that knowledge is coming, and if you have Jesus as your Lord and Savior, then your knowledge is limitless. Limitless. So thank you very much, Prof. Linda. Thank you, Nisa. I'm always grateful. I salute you guys. And God willing,
Thank you.
uh, next week we'll be here live. We'll continue. From what I hear, it's going to be wonders. It's going to be good on this platform. So please share the link. Tell your friends in Facebook and YouTube that we are live every Tuesday. We are here, and Thursday, Pastor Con is still here with me on Thursday. So please share the link. Let them know that there's some wonders. Miracles and wonders is not just you being sick and God healing you. But when you come to a platform like this, where knowledge is coming from, Professor Linda giving you how to navigate, AI. She's a believer Christian. She's not an unbeliever who is just playing with toys, with chemistry or computers. She's a born again Christian, so she knows how to marry the Bible and AI and know which is good and which is bad. On that note, we bring our discussion to an end. Thank you very much. God willing, we'll meet again next week, and keep praying. Keep praying for us. Pray for Ghana. Pray for US so that we don't do anything crazy. The world is watching us. Thank you and have a good evening. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
C'est mon père, ça me fait bien tiens. Tu me fais dire non kotu, era one radio. C'est mon père, tu me fais bien tiens. Tu me fais dire non kotu, era one radio. Oh, and you pam chima, chim tu, asam pam chima.
Is not your typical green tea. The Fumigio Herbal Tea by Glucose International is a nutritious drink and a natural blood glucose reducer. Gymnema plant, the active ingredients, and the Fumigio Herbal Tea suppresses the absorption of carbohydrate ingested from your diet. The green tea content in the Fumigio Herbal Tea promotes rejuvenation of dead cells, detoxification of your system, stimulates the pancreas to release insulin, and improves metabolism. Drinking one sachet of Fumigio Herbal Tea after meals prevents the rise in blood sugar levels, suppresses appetite, and improves bowel movements. Drinking Fumigio Herbal Tea regularly after meals can also prevent type 2 diabetes. We encourage you to drink Fumigio Herbal Tea 3 times in a day, coupled with mild exercises to maximize its benefits. Fumigio Herbal Tea has been approved by the FDA. Toxicity test conducted by SGS, so it is safe and non-toxic. A product of Singapore. With Fumigio Herbal Tea, your peace of mind is guaranteed. Call Ashok